What's up, y'all? Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. And yeah, so I'm gonna tell y'all why I'm making this face. I'm gonna tell y'all why I'm looking like this. So y'all know, if y'all seen the other videos, like in the last day or so, you know that I have been recording and putting out these videos for like the what was it? The top 12 um things that really help me throughout the year, like the eye-opening moments that I have from things that I've heard or I listened to, or revelation that I receive, things that I may have read. I've been sharing them with you all because I felt like they were really like life-changing in 2022, and I felt led to share that with you all. So I have been recording those. I have been putting those out. It's spitting them things out, okay? But I've been putting them out for you all, and I think up to maybe, I think I'm on 5 if I'm not mistaken. And I'm going to tell you, this happened right here in this very moment. So I was getting ready to do the very next one, and God reminded me, like, excuse me, Lamana. You were supposed to record a video last week that you haven't done, yet you've moved on to the next idea, like the next thing that I've given you. Now that's the thing. He gave me, like, I feel like God gave me the idea, or I felt led to share those things that I'm doing now, like the little mini videos of the top 12 things that were just so great, that I wanted to get to you all. But and here's a lesson, honey. Here's a lesson. And I have said this before. Go back to the last thing God told you to do, okay? Before you go on to the next great grand idea that he has given you. Because he's going to keep giving you ideas. But hold on. It could come to a halt if you're not going to do what he told you to do when he told you to do it, okay? So go back to the last thing he told you to do. And I think he knew that I was, I guess, gonna share this, or stop and stop the other little videos and share this with you all, because I mean, this is just fresh in the moment, y'all. I was really actually preparing to do the next one, and here we are, and here I am sharing this with you. So go back to the last thing that he told you to do. Don't skip it, do it. I just told y'all in like one of the other videos that I posted that God is about order, divine order. He does things the way he wants it done. Like things are very strategic. He is a strategic God, and things happen in the order and in the fashion that he wants them to happen. And that get Tori, if he told you to do something last week and now you on to the next thing, look at you. Look at me just being the living example. But yeah, he really did. I was supposed to do it last week. And for those that are wondering what I'm talking about, prior to doing these mini revelatory videos that I've been giving y'all, yes, God had, like, we had been doing testimonies up here. The last several videos I did, I was giving my own personal testimonies and just giving things that I felt like would help you all in life. And I felt like it was some topics that I needed to cover, of course, that I had gone through, that I needed to share with you all prior to the end of the year. And that's what I was doing before I got this, what I'm doing now. So here I am. I got stopped right in, right in my tracks, honey. And yeah, so let me do just a little divine interruption. So let me get back to what I was going to do last week. And I do have a really good, kind of a really good reason. It probably ain't good enough because I probably could have tried a little bit harder. But y'all, I tried to do this video last week, and it's in reference to abandonment and rejection, or abandonment, how it leads to rejection. And y'all, I tried, like when I say I started recording, like I hit record on this device like I'm doing now, and it kept stopping like after 5 minutes and said that I had reached the maximum amount of recording time, which is absolutely absurd. But anyway, because I never had, like, there is no maximum time. I mean, people can talk for hours and hours and hours and be recorded. But anyway, I'm just like, what is happening? So after 1, 2, 3, my third go, y'all, I was deep. Well, not deep. I'm going too far. I was well into the beginning, in the start of the message when it kept cutting off. So imagine doing that, and then the third go, it doesn't. It's a wrap. Time to go. Close it down. Close it up. Well, that's what I said. I said, well, hold on, this is the third time. Like, I don't want to do this again. So I literally stopped, y'all, and shut this thing down and went to bed. So without trying it again, though. So that's another lesson. So are we really gonna stop? What's the okay? Let me stop, because this thing probably I'm gonna keep getting lesson after lesson after lesson and keep showing y'all. But go back to the last thing that God told you to do. So here I am, and like I said, the message that I was gonna do last week was about abandonment and how abandonment leads to rejection. Okay, and how they are both spirits, right? Let me tell y'all, I was talking to my friend not too long ago, and I was like, girl, remember when we were younger? I don't know if she remembered or not, but I remember when I was a little girl, like, I just remember older people always saying, oh, it's a spirit. That's nothing but a spirit. Oh, that's a spirit. It's a spirit. And I was like, girl, they used to say everything was a spirit. Like, nothing was just what it was. It was just a spirit. It's a spirit. Get that spirit out. Gotta get rid of that spirit, right? And so, y'all, abandonment is a spirit. It's a spirit. Abandonment, it can lead, well, I'll put it this way. It is a spirit, and I believe that it leads to the spirit of rejection. So I said all that just to say that. But yeah, so I just wanted to share with you all my own testimony about abandonment leading to rejection. And both can come from a romantic relationship or a friendship or your family, your relationship with your family. Like, it can come from any of those three, okay? I mean, maybe a business relationship too, but when it comes to the top three relationships in your life, family, friends, and romantic relationships, most likely it's coming from one of those relationships. So I just want you to keep that in mind as I'm speaking. So it's not just solely about being in a romantic relationship. This very well applies to family relationships and friendships as well. And I would even go on to say that a lot of times that the abandonment can start from family relationships, whether you feel abandoned by your parents, the people that were taking care of you, some of the people in your family that you were really close to. In my case, it was not so much of family, but it could be yours, and this is applicable to all of them. Any type of relationship, like I said, but mine was more so with friendships, and definitely with romantic relationships. So I'll share a little bit as far as like the beginning, where I feel like it started maybe with a friendship. I had a friend growing up. We were what you would consider probably best friends for years and years and years and years and years and years and years. And then of course you go off to school. We went off to school, went off to college, and we did not go to the same school. And of course, time goes by. You're learning who you are in college. I'm trying to make this very short, but you're learning who you are in college. You start to make friends wherever you are. They start making friends. So I made friends. They make friends. And, life is happening. And, they happen to meet someone and started a romantic relationship, which I knew about. We didn't talk as often as we did. Like, we were extremely close in growing up in grade school, but we didn't talk as much. I think we started off talking often in the beginning of college, but then it just like grew some distance. But nonetheless, I still refer to this person as being very close to me and as a best friend. And so, long story short, she ended up getting engaged, ended up being proposed to, all of that good stuff, which I knew. And so I asked them, I said, well, are you having a wedding? And if you are, when is it? Like, I wanted to know, because we were in two different states. So I wanted to make sure, I prepared and how to get there and all of that stuff like that. And I think, and I'm hoping I remember this well, because this was a while ago, but I don't want to mess no story up. But It ended up being, I don't know if originally they were supposed to have a big wedding, but it ended up being, me learning that it was going to be a small wedding. That's what I was told, that it was going to be very small and intimate, where it's literally like the immediate family, like the people that were in your household, at the wedding, or in the wedding rather, and it was just going to be really small. So go on. They got married. I ended up seeing pictures, and in the pictures, I'm just looking like, I look like a bridesmaid. Oh, she looked like a bridesmaid too. And I'm being straight up with y'all. Like, I did tell this person back then how I felt, but so I don't want y'all to think that y'all getting this first and the person doesn't know how I felt about this. But anyway, so I'm just like, okay, this look like a wedding to me. This don't look like, a little small anything. Like, this looks more than just like a little small intimate. Even granted, it wasn't like this big grand thing, but I'm more so just like talking about like a wedding party. And so I was like, it's people in this wedding. Like, what is, I thought they said it wasn't really gonna be like, it was just gonna be them. So anyway, like, I tried to hold it in, not say anything about it, just like, oh, that's nice. And I really was, happy for the union itself. But I ain't gonna lie, I felt some type of boy, because I was like, it's people in this wedding, honey. Like, I thought it wasn't gonna be nobody in the wedding except for the parents and the groom and bride and the wedding officiant or the pastor, preacher, whoever married. But it's people in this wedding. And so, so finally, because I wasn't really a talker back then, I'm not really a talker now, but as far as like confronting certain situations and conversations that need to be had, that was not necessarily me back then. So I wrote an email, like a long email, and I told her how I felt, and she apologized and stuff like that. And I'm just like, but it still left me feeling like, dang, like, I knew we didn't, talk as all, but you was still my girl. Like, what? Like, you done had a whole way. Like, could I have got an invite at least? Like, if it was gonna be people in there, like, I couldn't at least, just came and sat in the audience. I wasn't even there. Like, I asked about this. But anyway, I say all of that to say I shared that experience because I feel like that was like the beginning for me with friendships, and left feeling. And I do not think, when I say with all of my heart, I do not think this was her intent at all. I think it just played out that way. There had been some distance, like I said, between us. We didn't talk as often as we used to. She had developed these other friends, and maybe perhaps because they were there for the blossoming and the flourishing of this relationship, that she decided to have them in it, and maybe perhaps didn't necessarily know how to tell me, or maybe watered it down, so it wouldn't seem as big as it was. But that was like the beginning for me. And so I feel like, even though I didn't recognize it back then, I feel like that was the beginning of a seed. Y'all, I'm telling you, these seeds, these things that happen in your life, or the words that people speak, like, they mean, they come back up. So at the time, I felt a certain type of way, but it wasn't like, oh my gosh, my world is over. But lo and behold, it would come back. It would come back in other friendships where I felt like, I don't know if I was carrying the the abandonment, and then feeling rejected at the end, because like I said, our friendship is just like, we just totally ended up going our own separate ways. So there was like a sense of rejection as well. Like, dang, like, why you do me like that? And so I think moving forward, maybe I wore that and didn't realize it, or carried that with me and maybe didn't realize it. Whereas it spilled into other relationships, other friendships, is what I want y'all to get. Like, this stuff, it does go into other relationships if you don't deal with it, if you don't handle it, if you don't put a stop to the seed that has been planted, whether it was on purpose or not. Like I said, I do not think this was her intent, but it happened, and I still didn't deal with those feelings that I needed to. I didn't even have the tools that I probably needed to do it at the time, but it ended up coming back later on in life, like I said, in relationships moving forward. And then of course I experienced it again in friendship. And y'all, I'm gonna be honest, it made me like like I kind of got to the point where if I met anyone else after that, it was just like, let's not put a title on this. Like, let's just be cool. You ain't got to tell people that I'm your best friend. Like, we ain't got to do all that. And I'm so serious. Like, we don't have to do titles. We just cool. You my girl. We close. Good friend, sister, however you want to put it. But the word best friend was just literally off limits. Like, I wasn't going to use that. So, and I didn't want the other person to feel some type of way by them maybe referring to me that way. So it's just like, let's not do titles. And that's how it kind of left me. But it's still because it was a reason behind it. It was something that I had not necessarily dealt with, that I needed to deal with. So I hope y'all following me, how feeling abandoned or left out, which is pretty much abandoned, like left out, left hanging, unattended to, how it just leads to rejection. So I feel like my way of dealing with it, so it wouldn't happen again, so I wouldn't have to deal with that rejection again from a friendship, was like, look, let's not put titles on anything, okay? We just cool, and we gonna leave it at that. So that's how that went. Then, of course, moving on to romantic relationships. Let me see what I want to share with y'all, because I don't want to share too much. I felt like I dealt with people who may have experienced being abandoned. Actually, I know they were abandoned and by their parents. And so that spirit was already there. That was something that was already a seed planted in them, watered and rooted deep. And so that's all they know. So I feel like abandoned people and rejected people, they abandon people. Well, some of them abandon people and reject people as well. And that is not to say that I am exempt, because I experienced abandon and rejection. And what did I just say? I said I rejected anybody trying to put a title on anything that we had. Like, we cool and that's it. Like, I didn't want anything further. And so I think for these relationships that I was in romantically, they were definitely abandoned. Like I said, but I felt like theirs maybe came early on by family, whether it was guardians, mom, dad, whoever was supposed to be taking care of them, which ultimately led to them feeling rejected in some type of way, whether they verbalized it or not, whether they were aware of it or not. They carried that around. And I feel like maybe that is what I guess brought us together, because I had experience, they had experience. You all would be so surprised how things work in the spirit, and you wonder like how you end up with certain people. Like, what in the world? What is going on? How? Like, when you think about it, hindsight, of course. But I really think that it played a huge part in their life. And so when it came down to it, these people, they didn't know. I don't feel like they knew genuine love because of being abandoned. Or I don't know if I can say that. That's probably not right for me to say. I don't know if they experienced the love that they would want from these people that abandoned them, that left them feeling rejected. I think it left them with lots of questions. Like, I had lots of questions about the friendships where I felt abandoned and rejected. I had lots of questions even with the romantic relationships. But it's not until, later on, when you get some wisdom and knowledge and you get the word of God, for me, that I now kind of understand, like, girl, you was dealing with these people that had gone through these things as well. And so, even though I felt like I was true and genuine as far as loving them, and I'm talking about the friendships too, I just think that was the outcome of people that experience being rejected and being abandoned. Like, the outcome wasn't good, because you have these two people that haven't dealt with these issues, and now you're trying to come together as either friends, or you're trying to come together in a romantic relationship, but you haven't dealt with you haven't dealt with some of these deep rooted issues that need to be dealt with before you can really fully commit yourself to another person. So I say all of that to say that I definitely believe that abandonment and rejection are spirits. I definitely believe, like I said, that they come from family, friends, romantic relationships, and I definitely believe that they have to be dealt with head on prior to moving into other relationships that you want to be long lasting, that you want to be genuine, that you want to be pure, that you want to be loving, that you want to fully be able to be yourself in these relationships, and you actually want them to sustain and to last. You got to be able to deal with these things. You got to be able to have these conversations. I think it's imperative to do so. And here I am today. That's some of the work that I have done this year. Well, probably the last couple of years dealing with it. Not dealing with it, but y'all know what I mean. Just going through the process and going through some things that I needed to process. That I needed to process and rid myself of to prepare for my future. And so, like I said in one of the other videos, better is the end of a thing. Better is the end of a thing, because now I have gone through this process. I now can, talk about these things openly. I can help somebody else. Like I said, I know I kind of gave y'all the gist. I didn't give y'all all of the details. I don't even think all of the details are needed. I just think you need to know that if you have felt abandoned by any relationship at all that I named, family, friends, or romantic, if you have felt rejected by any of those relationships, family, friend, or romantic, that you definitely need to deal with it. Ask God. If you don't know how to, ask him. He will send you someone. He will refer you to someone, or he'll just give you the tools that you need in order to go through the process and rid yourself of those spirits that you need to be released from, so you can live fully with no restrictions, so you don't have to be guarded when it comes to these people that you say that you love, that you've developed this relationship with. You don't have to cut off this certain portion or stop right here or have a barrier up because of things that you have experienced in the past. So we want to move forward. We want to go into 2023 without having to worry about all of these things and carrying these things with us, because they will go with you if you don't deal with it. And that's that, y'all. So that is my good testimony. I pray that this has been encouraging, to say the least. And I ask that you would share with somebody that may need to hear it. I may come back with a part 2, because like I said, I'm trying to do this off the top of the dome. I was supposed to do it last week, and now I'm just sitting here trying to think of everything that I may have would have said, that I might have would have said. So that's that. As always, be blessed, be encouraged, and I'm getting back to my mini videos, so stay tuned. All right, y'all.